and I don't know why.
I think Caroline just hopped on too.
Okay.
She said she might be a little late, but I think she just got on.
It says recording up in the top left-hand corner too.
Maybe she clicked it.
I bet she did.
Okay, well, I guess that is my cue to just start talking. Oh, me. Okay. I'm going to give it like another minute and just make sure everybody jumps on, and then we'll get started.
Okay, you have to call an audio first.
Oh, never mind.
Did you not?
Hey, Val. All right, y'all. I am just gonna like get started because Caroline's about to go put her babies to bed. But she pushed record for us, so I don't want all the awkwardness to be going on. Anyways, I hope y'all have had a good Monday. I'm looking around and seeing all who's here, but for those of you who don't know, I'm Shea. I am one of Caroline's Diamond coaches, and to be super honest, I've never in my life led a call this big, so here we go. I'm going to share my screen with y'all super quick, though. Let me get it up real quick. Sorry, y'all. Obviously don't know how to share a screen without all that. Okay. Here we go. I am going to talk about, hold on, y'all. I'm having trouble with my computer. Okay. I am going to talk about consistency. We, as a team, were talking, I guess, a few months back just on different areas that we felt like we could talk on and speak on, and Rose actually brought up this particular topic for me, but it is something that I really feel that I have been strong in over the past year, and I think that it's super, super important to be consistent as we're going through this journey and as we're walking through as coaches and just trying to be successful. And even more so, which I didn't name it this particular thing when I made this PowerPoint, but Caroline was calling it like consistency during all the craziness, and life has been crazy for everybody, and so I feel like this is something that's super relevant right now. So I was, before I go to the next little thing, I was listening to a podcast, or I don't know what I was listening to the other day, but this quote, like, actually it's been a while back, it wasn't the other day, but I wrote this quote down and I've stuck with it, and it just says that our seemingly small, insignificant daily activities repeated over time lead us down the path to success. And y'all, that is so true. I think a lot of times coaches come into this and think we have to do like all of these big things and all these fancy things, but it's literally like the small things that maybe seem like they're not important, that if we do consistently every single day or every single week or whatever that looks like, this really going to help us just move the needle forward and keep going. So I have obviously never done this before. Okay, so I'm just going to start off. We're going to get into some business parts of this, I promise. But y'all know that we're very faith-based. We really want everything we do to bring honor and glory to God. And so this is one of my all-time favorite verses, just talking about not becoming weary of doing good and just running that race that God has us on. Because at the end of the day, life is hard. Y'all will kind of hear a little bit as I go, as I talk. And I'm not going to share details, but my personal life over the past 8 to 10 months has been very, very difficult. Just a lot of things were thrown at me. I don't share it publicly very often because, to be quite honest, I'm still walking through a lot, and I just feel like there's wisdom in how you approach that until you feel like it's something the Lord kind of gives you to share. But for me, I've been walking through a lot of valleys lately, and that's not to say anything to point fingers back at me, because at the end of the day, I know that so many people on this call have had hard times, have had things that aren't easy, have had spouses gone, have been traveling across the country, and also like we've all been going through this worldwide pandemic that has affected us, whether it be financially or with our jobs or, you know, whatever it is. And I think we're all going to go through seasons that are hard. But I just want to encourage y'all today or tonight, like, if this is something that the Lord has called you to, He is going to equip you to do it. And you don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel like when life gets hard, you have to quit, because I think the beauty of it is like we can turn to Him and look for our strength. So even when life is hard, even when we literally have no clue what we're doing, all these new coaches out here, I know I felt that way. I think there's so much beauty in just surrendering it to Him, asking for strength, asking for discipline, asking for vision to keep going. And truly that's what's going to keep us going. I saw this quote. I really think it was Michelle Myers, maybe. I'm not really sure. But she just talks about like doing kingdom work guarantees that eventually we will face temptation to tire out. And I think this is super, super important as we talk about coaching. I personally remember jumping on a phone call with Caroline the first week or two I jumped into coaching, and she told me, and I pass this down to my coaches every single time, is if this is something you want to do, commit to doing it for a year. And in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, I don't know. I didn't believe in myself when I started out. Honestly, I had no idea this is what the Lord was going to make out of this. But she told me, like, stick in it for a year. And there's two reasons behind that. Is because, like, first of all, when you help your first person, most of the time you're signing up with God, you're giving them a yearly subscription. You're telling them that you're going to be their coach. You're telling them you're going to be there and you're going to help them. And so be there in a year. Whatever that looks like, be there in a year. And that's just a really important thing. But also, she kind of made the point, and I know this is true for my journey. It might be for some of y'all's, it might not be. But, 3, 4, or 5 months into the coaching journey, it's going to get hard. Like, you're going to get tired of it. And that's not to say, like, all these new coaches, don't get discouraged when we say that. But for me personally, like, those first few months, I was adding people that I knew. I was adding my best friends, not my parents, but like family members, people that I already knew. I was kind of working in that, like, quote unquote warm market that we talk about. And so 4 to 5 months into it, I was kind of like, okay, who's next? Where am I going to reach out? Where am I going to find these people? And there's just that temptation to get tired, and I think that's not just with coaching, that's with anything that I feel like we just have a passion for sometimes, because we go all in and we just get tired because we're doing kingdom work, right? And the enemy's here to get us and to stop us from doing whatever it is that the Lord's calling us to. And so just a few quick things on this is, and I promise we're going to get into the business aspect of it, but at the end of the day, when you're feeling tired, when life is getting hard, when you're like, okay, I don't even know what being consistent means anymore, I really don't even want to be consistent some days, just go back to, like, why are you doing this in the first place? Like, remember that this is something that the Lord has called you to. He has equipped you for and is equipping you for. Like, seasons of life change, things change. We need different whys, different reasons as we go through different seasons of life, but just surrendering that to the Lord and saying, okay, like, this is what you called me to. I'm going to walk in obedience. I'm going to do whatever it is you're calling me to do, scared or not scared. And so just kind of remember that. And then this is something I have to do every single day. And I love how Caroline has really been showing this on her stories, just praying over her business. But I would encourage y'all, like, don't just pray over your business, pray over your clients, pray over your coaches, like, pray over this team. And I was actually thinking about this on the way home today, and it's one of those things. I did this last month. I went through and just printed off all my customers. I don't know some of them, like half of them were given to me through free leads, but just taking that list and five people at a time, wake up and just pray for them. Like, I don't know what their needs are. I might not even know the person, but my prayer is that I can just shine a little light in every single person that is one of my people, or that I'm helping, or that I'm coaching. And so just praying over this whole thing and giving it back to the Lord. And then always going back to why are you doing this? I think a lot of times we can kind of get caught up in the superficial part of it. And sometimes we might go into it like, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds and that's my why. But I would really encourage y'all, not that that's a bad thing at all. Like, I want us to have good goals like that. I want us to, want to improve in that way. And those are all really good goals. But at the end of the day, they might not be the goal that keeps you going when it's really hard, or when you do completely get off plan for nutrition for a week or a month or whatever that might look like. And so I always remember, like, when I was going through coach trainings, it was just, what is a why that makes you want to cry? And that's something that has really, really just stuck with me, because y'all, when it gets hard and when life gets hard, if you don't have a reason you're running with it, like if you don't have a reason why you're running towards this that is so much bigger than yourself, then you're going to want to quit. I know for certain I've had those days, and I've had to kind of go back and say, okay, like, why am I doing this? Like, for me, honestly, my why is because I love health and fitness, and I really want to be a light in that way. But even more than that, like, I know what this community has meant to me and to my heart and to my life, and how it's changed me. And like, I want other people to experience that. I don't want it to just stop at health and fitness. Because to be honest, if it was just health and fitness to me, then 6 months ago when life got really, really hard, I probably would have walked away. But I didn't, because I had this team and I had these people. And so just going back to your why, and like, if you haven't thought about that, I encourage y'all to sit down, write it down, put it on your window, your fridge, wherever is easier for y'all. But that's just a few simple things to kind of go back to, and just remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing, honestly. Okay, so I love this quote. I don't know who said this. I want to say it was like Ashley Molstead or somebody. I really don't know. I was watching a training, and it was like, if you kind of sort of try, you're kind of sort of gonna get results. And y'all, this is so true. This is one of those businesses that, like, you have to do the things, and you have to do the things consistently. And really, like anything else, if we go into it half-heartedly, we're going to get half-hearted results. Like, I just want to encourage y'all to, like, go all in. Just go all in. See what it's like. Give it all you got. But I don't want anybody to look back like a year down the road and be like, okay, well, I kind of sort of did that. Or, okay, well, I sent invites for 2 days, but then I didn't send invites for 3 months, or little things like that. I think it can get easy to get caught up in. But as blunt as I can possibly say it, if you kind of sort of try, you're kind of going to sort of get results. And so one of the first places, or one of the things that for me has kept me consistent in this journey and consistently showing up no matter what is going on outside of coaching, is just showing up for yourself. And that kind of goes back to the why, y'all. It really does. If we're not showing up for ourselves, if we're not doing something that brings us joy, then we're not going to pass that into our clients. We're not going to pass that into our coaches. And we're going to burn out, and we're going to give up. So figure out, like, what are your goals in this, health and fitness wise, not even coaching wise, just your own personal goals, and show up for yourself. Figure out those things, those rhythms and routines that bring you joy, that bring you purpose, that help you enjoy this whole process. For me, I'm an early morning person. My rhythm is getting up and sipping on Energize while I spend time with Jesus and working out. And that's what I like to do. It gets my mindset. For those of you who don't know, I work full time as a physical therapist. So I'm in the hospital all day, every day. But to be honest, like, it's a job that I absolutely love, but I'm literally walking in and pouring into patients and loving and serving them all day, every day. And if I don't get up and start my day the right way and get into this routine of just going throughout the day with a good mindset and with energy, then it's going to completely throw off the rest of my day. And it's going to throw off how I do my job. And so for me, that's what fuels, like, my joy. That's what helps me run this race. And all that to say, like, we got to give ourselves grace. We preach this, we call our boot camps grace camps, because that is the beauty, like, that is the gospel, first of all. But that is something, like, we have to give ourselves. every single day. And so it doesn't mean it has to be perfect. It doesn't mean you have to have the exact same schedule every single day. But when you kind of get in your own rhythm, in your own routine, then you're going to consistently start showing up for yourself first. And that's just going to pour into how you show up on Instagram, how you show up in your challenge groups, how you show up when you start building a team for your coaches. And we have to lead by example. We really do. We cannot expect all of our people who are watching, who are following along to, to look at us, or we can't expect them to walk this walk if they're looking at us and we're not showing up every day, or we're not doing this, or we're not doing that. Because honestly, like, they've got to trust us, right? And so we have to be able to show up and just lead by example. And I just want to say too, kind of going back to giving yourself grace, this is one of those things where I don't want anybody to look at someone else's and start comparing your schedule to somebody else's, or your rhythms to somebody else's, or even your season of life to somebody else's, because I can 100% say that throughout this year, I've been super consistent in just this journey. But there was a season where I remember texting Caroline when a lot of things happened, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't have time to send invites. I don't have time to respond to people. And I just remember her telling me, like, okay, well, maybe you're not sending 20 invites a day, but how about you focus on just connecting with one person a day? And so I just want to share that to say, like, don't look at yourself and say, okay, well, all I have to do is connect with one person every single day. But I say that to say, like, life changes, life happens, seasons change. The meaning behind consistency, well, I was about to say it changes. It can change. I guess the way you live that out can change. I don't know if that makes sense. But what I'm trying to say is, like, different seasons of life come. And so you do what you can during that season of life. I'm probably getting ahead of myself because I just get to talking sometimes. But one of the main things when we start thinking of being consistent, and I know that we preach this to y'all, your coaches teach this to you as you start out, you go through trainings, but this is the bread and butter to our whole business. This is the bread and butter to what it looks like to be consistent, what it looks like to keep going, what it looks like to do those things that we have to do to move our business forward, or to move the needle forward, as people like to say. And so y'all know these, but I'm going to go back over them because I just think they're that important. And I think a lot of times we get so caught up in the pretty things. We get caught up in making all these beautiful graphics and, like, making all the perfect emails and all of that. But if we're not doing these 4 things, if we're not being proof the product works, if we're not making those connections and cultivating the community, if we're not getting people results or spending time in personal development, then we're not going to move forward. We can have all the beautiful graphics, but if we have nobody to share them with, then it's kind of pointless. And y'all, that's the beauty too of, like, this team we're on is, I'm just going to say this, every single one of y'all, myself included, like, we are so blessed to be on the team that we're on. We're so blessed to have Caroline as a upline and as a leader, and just have a group of ladies who come together and work together as a team. And I don't know, I've never been a part of another Beachbody community. I jumped in this one and I'm not going anywhere. So I don't know what that looks like outside of this, but it's a blessing. I just want to say that. But just quickly going over these vital behaviors and what it looks like to be consistent in these. I've already kind of talked about being proof the product works. Figuring out your routine, your schedule, what works for you, stick with it and share that with people. Finish your program. Don't start and stop and start and stop. That's not saying you can't jump around, but, like, show people that you're consistent. Like, you're going to finish this program. Show people that you use the products. That doesn't mean you have to use every single one of them. Y'all, there's products I still haven't tried yet. Now, obviously, make it a goal, to try different things so you can answer questions. But don't feel like you have to be, like, we say this all the time, but don't feel like you have to be a Beachbody robot, that you have to have every product in your cabinet and you have to share every single one of them. Share, like, the ones you love. Like, that's the really cool thing about this is, like, we get to be authentic. We get to be real with people. We get to share the things that we truly love, and that's different for every single person. So, like, what I really, really like might not be the same thing that Erin really, really likes. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, we still share, and that's the difference. Like, that's how I get my people. That's how she gets her people. So I'm going off of the main point here, but be proof the product works. Connect, invite, follow up. This is probably the most important vital behavior, and it's also the most scariest behavior. Most people probably don't know this, but I was super, super shy in high school. I don't like to get outside my comfort zone, and coaching was the biggest thing outside of my comfort zone. But it's also been the biggest blessing. But I say that to say is, don't let fear stop you from doing something. I don't know. That's all I can say. Don't let fear stop you from doing it. But we have to connect with people. We have to invite them. We have to follow up with people. We have to be constantly carry on conversations. And like, y'all, connection doesn't always mean like get on and invite this person. Connection is like interacting with their account. It's sending messages. I always have messages in my inbox. And that's just because I'm continuously talking to people and getting to know who they are and just kind of asking them about their life. And I think that's kind of like, that leads to the invite. When we really connect with people, they trust us, we trust them. It leads to like an authentic invite. So we don't feel like we have to just send all these messages. Now, I still send messages to people watching my stories. I don't mean like I never just send a flat out invite, but it's really cool how when we connect and we create those relationships and we really just cultivate that community, how it just authentically leads to an invite, and then you can just follow up without having to put any pressure on yourself. And this is going off subject, but I still pull out, like Courtney Foster did a team call. I don't even know how long it's been. I don't even know if she's on here because I can't see everybody, but she did a team call. It's been a while back on just conversations and cultivating community, and the best call. I still share it with every single one of my coaches. It just helps you kind of go back to like, why are we doing what we're doing and how can we be real and authentic about that? Because I think a lot of us just get afraid of being salesy all the time, but we truly do not have to be salesy with this. But also the biggest thing with that is be consistent with this part. I'm not saying you have to do a certain amount every single day. But when we're consistent with this, we're going to see results. And y'all, the power and the connection is super important too, because I'll be honest, I have conversations with people and sometimes I'll invite and they jump in, but the power of being consistent and continuously having conversations, continuously interacting with people, continuously talking to them, even if they tell you no, but they're still talking and they're still getting to know you. Now there's a line, you kind of have to figure out like how to manage your time wisely with that. But I have so many people who come back around 6 months later, 8 months later, 12 months later. Like, that is the power of consistency. But if we have a conversations for 3 weeks and then we give up because nobody's telling us yes, and we get frustrated and we stop, then 3 months down the road, like all those people that honestly for me have come back around, they're not going to be there because we're not staying consistent with it. We're not talking with them. We're not creating those relationships. So super important one, probably spent the most time on that. Getting people results, we have to start with ourselves. Like I said, we have to figure out our rhythm, our routine. We have to figure out our voice, and Caroline said this to me the other day, like we were talking about just her own progression in the company and like how things really grew when she found her voice. And that is so, so true. Like, we have to figure out who we are. We have to find joy in our journey first. And then that's going to very easily lead into getting other people results. Our challengers, we do that through these challenge groups. We do that through connecting with them and answering questions and just pouring into them in that way. And then we get to move on to our coaches, which is really, really cool and really, really fun for all those growing a team right now. And so just getting people results. And then personal development, something I never did until I started coaching, to be quite honest with you. But this is how we grow. And I will preface this. This has been said many times. This is not my quiet time in the morning as I'm studying and reading my Bible. I'm a firm believer that as believers, that's something that just the Holy Spirit leads us and guides us in. That's something that we should have that desire to do and should be doing anyways in our walk with Christ. That's different from, we intertwine it with our fitness business, obviously, but that's different than personal development. So just figuring out like what that looks like for you. New coaches, sometimes personal development is getting on the coach office and figuring out what even is on there or how to do different things. Maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a book, maybe it's a YouTube training, which I still do to this day. But just figuring out how to pour into you so you can pour into other people, and how to fill your cup so you have enough to pour into other people, and just have that energy and have that knowledge. So 4 vital behaviors. I spent way too long on those, but these are super, super important, y'all, and they're super important to do consistently. Sorry. Also, Success Club. This is huge. So Success Club should 100% be a non-negotiable. This is something that I remember Caroline telling me when I started, like, we were talking about this free ticket to Summit. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get that free ticket. So I just kind of made it a non-negotiable starting out, because I wanted that ticket to Summit. And then as I started researching, as I started looking through this, this is truly like, this is what you look back on and you can kind of gauge success, if that makes sense. Now, please don't get discouraged if you're not hitting Success Club. That's not what I mean by that. But this should light a fire under you to just try to run with this and really try to make it a goal every month, because all it's doing pretty much is adding 3 new people a day. I saw this thing, I don't know where I saw this, but somebody said if you send 2 invites a day, that's, I'm going to do this wrong in my head, 60. I don't do math in my head. That's 60 invites a month. And so out of 60 invites, surely 3 people can say yes. But I just want to preface that and say, like, that's kind of the minimum. Most of your successful coaches, most of the people you look back on are 5 times in that, or 10 times in that. That's not to scare you, but that's also just to encourage you and saying, like, don't just start at the bare minimum and think you got to stay there. Like, increase that number, work hard. And there's a lot of pros to this, y'all. Not only do we kind of look back at do we look at the most successful coaches and trace back that, hey, they were hitting Success Club every month and they were doing it consistently. But, like, obviously that leads to success, but it's also bringing new faces. It's bringing momentum into our group. Our virtual gyms, like, they can kind of die out. You have people that show up for 2 or 3 months and then they kind of fizzle out. Maybe you're still talking to them, but they're not getting on and posting every day or interacting. And so consistently hitting Success Club is consistently bringing new people. And that's encouraging to those people who who are in there, and, like, they start seeing people fizzle out, but you're constantly putting new people in there and they're constantly going to continue to show up and just jump in for the accountability. But also, y'all, it multiplies our influence, which I think is really cool. Like, the more people we're bringing into, we get to pour into them and then they get to pour out as well. Because at the end of the day, like, we can only do so much. We only have so much time. We only have so many other things that we have on our plate. But by bringing new people in there, we get to just share the love of Christ. We get to help them in health and fitness, and then they can go and do the same. And you never know, like, I'll be honest with y'all, never, ever, ever discount your challengers. Even when you're getting into this mindset of building a team, like, do not forget that those challengers are our bread and butter. And I can honestly look at my team right now, and over half of them are people who are challengers with me. Like I said, I don't know who's on here because I can only see so many people, but Miranda was with me for an entire year just about, and she just jumped in as a coach yesterday. But it's one of those things, like, you never know who's going to jump in and want to run with this. So anyways, and then also Success Club, obviously, we get our prizes, our happies, team cycle bonuses, all those fun things, customer leads that really help us just to grow, helps us financially, although that's not the priority. It is a huge blessing for a lot of us. So here are a few quick tips. This is just more on the business side of it, and this is just some things that have helped me personally. I know that we have a ton of coaches on here that are all in different seasons of life. Some are working, some are stay-at-home mamas, whatever that looks like. Some are in college. But for me, these are things that have just helped me stay consistent, stay on task, do what I need to do. Setting business hours, which is really hard to stick to sometimes, especially when you really love this and you really are into it. I know for me, starting out, like, I just wanted to come home and spend 3 hours a day sometimes and just never get up and never move. But we really have to be intentional about how we do this business, especially if we have a family at home, and kind of figure out, like, what that looks like for us. Power pockets are life for me. I rarely sit down for an hour unless I'm leading an action hour and it's, like, scheduled into my day, simply because, like I said, I work full time. And honestly, just in the last few months, life has been crazy. I've had a lot of things going on, and I haven't been able to come home and just sit and work. And so figuring out those power pockets, like maybe it's 20 minutes in the morning. For me, I try to do 15 to 20 minutes at the end of my lunch break at work if I'm not super busy. Just different things like that, figuring out what it looks like. Y'all, you do not have to have all of the time in the day to be successful, nor to be consistent. And just to say, like, consistency can mean something different. Like, maybe consistency this week is completely different than next week, depending on what you got going on. That is perfectly okay. Don't feel like you have to be so rigid and get stuck. But make a plan and figure out when are those pockets or when are those time blocks, whatever your life looks like. Make a schedule. I like to do this on Sundays, and I personally do my like top 3 the night before, just because like my time in the morning is super limited. I'm getting up, I'm getting things done, I'm getting ready, I'm driving 25 minutes to work. And so I don't have time to sit down and like think about everything. So before I go to bed, I try to write down what I need to do the next day, what are my top 3 things, and that's what I need to focus on. Non-negotiables first. This is a hard one. It's really easy for me to do the things that I like really, really enjoy doing and love doing. Not that I don't love all of it, but we all know there's some little tasks like inviting that make us nervous and that we don't want to do. But if we make it a priority to do those things first and get them over with, then we're going to be a lot more successful in this business. I've already touched on this. Cut the extra and focus on building business tasks. That doesn't mean don't do extra. That doesn't mean don't do those fun, I don't know, some of y'all might really enjoy making graphics and like really love it. It's not my absolute favorite thing, but sometimes I've talked to girls and they spend like 3 hours making a graphic because they truly love doing that. So really when you're starting to start out and you're starting to be consistent in building the business, don't focus on all the extra things. Like focus on those things that are moving your needle forward. By the way, is the business activity tracker. I just realized I did not put that in here, but definitely should have. Those are the things that are truly going to move your business forward. So if you do not have the business activity tracker, there are a million different resources for that. Beachbody has one. They actually just updated it on Beachbody. Caroline has made some for our team that are more specific to Fit for His Glory. We can tag you on those, get them to you. And then also there's an app called, I don't want to say this wrong, SCBAT, which is Success Club Business Activity Tracker. And y'all, there's a ton of those out there, but figure out which one that really helps you, which one that you can work into your schedule. I've been using the app lately and adding a few things simply because I am working in power pockets of the day. So like when I'm at work during my lunch break, I don't have a pen and paper that I can mark things off. So I have the app where I can just click it. And then I also have some stuff on my phone and notes. But that is the biggest thing. I tell all my new coaches, if you're not doing the business activity tracker, you're not going to be moving forward. And that is something that I personally made a non-negotiable from day one. I was talking to one of my coaches the other day about sending invites and what that looked like. And when I first sent invites, like my first few months, they were probably the worst invites ever. They were probably the invites that like I didn't want people to send me because that was being salesy, quote unquote. But you know what? I just did it. And now a year later, like I found my voice. I found how I can communicate with people. But don't be afraid to just do it. Like just start out doing it. Because I can honestly say month 1 to month, I don't even know what I'm on, 13, 14. I have made that business tracker a non-negotiable. Like I said, you got to alter it sometimes. For a season of life, I went from 20 invites a day to 1 connection a day because that's what I could do, because I had a lot of personal things going on. I had a lot of other things in my life that took priority in that moment, and I could not spend as much time. Like it changes, it alters, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean you can't be consistent with it. And also, like if y'all are looking at the activity tracker and you're like, okay, I don't really know what to do here. I can read the word connect, but tell me how to connect. Like y'all reach out to your uplines, post on our group, ask questions. That's what we're here for, is to talk through all of those things, but just making it a priority to do it every single day. Being intentional, being disciplined. For me, I've had to learn how to be intentional with my time, how to be disciplined with my time, because it's super easy to just scroll through Instagram for 45 minutes and then be like, oh, well, only have 15 minutes left in my power hour and I haven't done one thing on the activity tracker. So just figuring out like what it looks like to be intentional with the time that you do have. And also I want to encourage y'all who are going through like a busy season of life or a difficult season of life where you just don't have all the time that you want to have. The Lord will 100% surprise you when you surrender this to Him. He will take whatever time you have and multiply it. He will multiply your effects and efforts. I guess I shouldn't speak that over people, but I'm just saying it's really cool what He'll do when you just give Him what you got and say, I'm trusting you with this. Here. I know He's done that for me. So, sorry, y'all, I cannot go on. Okay, so here's the next biggest thing. And this is something that, y'all, I'm probably going to get a little emotional on. I'm not even lying because I'm already getting that way. But if we're going to be consistent in this business, if we're going to continue to run this race and to do this journey and to not give up when it gets hard and to not give up when we're not getting all the yeses we want, or we're not getting all the coaches coming in that we just think we need to be getting during that specific time, or we're watching somebody else do it way faster than us and we're just getting discouraged. Like, if I could tell y'all anything, get plugged into this community. Get in the Facebook group, get in your text message threads. We have different ones going on. I know all of our leaders have different ones for their teams that we have going on. Just don't be afraid to get outside your comfort zone. I have yet to meet, I'm trying to think, except for people on my team that I already knew, but like our leaders and anybody else, I haven't met anybody yet, which is really sad because we were supposed to go to the beach last month. So there's that. But anyways, it has just been the coolest thing to see how the Lord has taken this opportunity and has placed people in my life just for accountability, for encouragement, for just prayer purposes during difficult seasons. And so get plugged in, get on the Facebook group, get you a purpose partner. Courtney posted, I guess, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, on our Fit for His Glory team page. And I actually was looking through it today. And so if you have not gotten on there and filled it out, please do. Get on there, get connected with somebody. If you're on there and you don't really know who you need to get connected with, ask us. Like, we will pair you up. But really having that, like, even as a big team, yes, we're really close. Yes, we get together, we talk. But having that one person who's just there for you to talk life, to talk coaching, to plan, to be like, okay, what do I need to do with this? Is huge. And I'm just gonna like flat out say that if it was not for this community, if it was not for this group of ladies, 6 months ago, I probably would have stepped away from coaching. Not because I didn't love coaching, not because I didn't think that the Lord placed coaching on my heart, but because, to be super honest with y'all, life just got really, really hard. And there were times where I was like, I don't really know if I can do this anymore. Like, I'm not going to share details because I think there's wisdom in figuring out what to share, especially if you're still walking through different things. But there were just times where I was like, I don't know how to show up for other people, because right now I don't even really know how to take care of myself. And so when I had this community, when I had people I could pour into, it was amazing. And to be honest, I look back and I don't know, it just makes me emotional, because this was something that I completely just felt the Lord calling me to do. I felt Him call me to just say, okay, do this, surrender. I had no idea some just hard seasons that were coming ahead when I said yes to coaching. I really didn't realize that, like, the community that I had was about to be not taken away, but kind of taken away in a sense. A lot of things changed. I didn't realize that the way that I was serving in that specific season of life was about to completely change, but the Lord definitely knew what was coming. And it's just really cool to watch how, like, He gave me a community of women who love me, who I can serve with, who hold me accountable. He gave me a way to just love and serve people, because that's something that I truly, truly love to do. And so I say all that to just encourage y'all that no matter what is going on, no matter what life looks like, get plugged into this community, because it has been the biggest blessing in my life, honestly. So there is that. And I love this picture, by the way. Okay, so that is pretty much it. I put these pictures on here because I just want to encourage y'all, like, I'm not in any of these pictures. Obviously never met anybody in person, but I remember when I started coaching, I was like, okay, next year, like, I want to be here. I want to work out with this group of women. I want to hug these people's necks. And so it's just a little bit of encouragement for me because it really, it just gave me something to look forward to. And so just going to say, be faithful where you are with what you've been given, whatever that looks like. Your story is not mine. Your story is not Caroline's. Your season of life does not look like ours, but that does not mean that you cannot show up. It does not mean you cannot be consistent, no matter what that looks like for you. And love this. Just have some stick with itness. Also, I have no idea if this is how you're really supposed to type this out, but that's the way that I would say it. So there you go. But have stick with itness. Just go all in. Show up. Be consistent. I know life's hard sometimes, trust me. But that does not mean that we cannot continue going. So I probably talked a little quicker than Caroline would because I get a little nervous. But that's about what I got.
That was incredible.
Hold on, let me get where I can see y'all.
Shea, or I wanted to say something really quick because I said it in the chat, but first off, that was incredible. But just in regards to this team, like, you know, our pastor always says this, and I just want you guys to know that the same thing is true here. But he always says, like, if you pull in the parking lot of the church, because I got a pretty big church, so if you pull in the parking lot of the church and you're frustrated about the parking situation, maybe God's calling you to work in the parking lot and help park some cars. Or if you see, you know, like, just different things. Like, if you're frustrated about the children's ministry, like, maybe that's an opportunity for God to call you, like, he's calling you to step in and bring your gifts there. And so even here on our team, like, please know this, like, I never want this to be the Caroline show. Like, I do not want that, okay? So if you guys see opportunities, if you guys see, like, things that we can make better, or maybe you're really good at making graphics and you see that we need some Insta story graphics to promote the new Energized flavor. I don't know, I'm just randomly making stuff up. But, or if you're in the Boss Babes Facebook and you see something that's posted, like, share those things. Feel free to do those things in the team page. Like, the team page is for overall communication of everybody. It's not, oh, only Caroline can post in there, one of the leaders. And so I just want you guys to feel like ownership in our team, and just like, because we want that, we want it to truly be a community. Like, if you're going through something hard and you need some prayer warriors, drop it in there. Like, it doesn't have to have anything to do with fitness. We don't care. Like, we just want to love you and pray for you and have true community. And so, you know, I know that it's hard to have real community in some ways whenever you can't be at someone's house and drop something off to them or whatever, sit down for coffee and talk one-on-one, but, like, you can in a lot of ways with technology these days. So, you know, just, I think there's so many rooms for opportunity of things that we can even do. I think we just all have to kind of get creative about what that looks like. But if you know of an opportunity, or you ever think about anything for even a girl on your team, if you've got a coach who is walking through something hard and we can do a meal train of some sort and, like, I mean, send delivery food to them, you know, or something like that. Just literally, if you guys ever have any ideas, I want you guys just to know it's your team too. So please know that. So Shea, that was incredible. Do you care if we do a little Q&A? Like, if anybody has any questions, I know I say this all the time, but success leaves clues, and everything I've learned in the business has honestly been things that I learned from someone else. And so I think that's just so powerful. And so anyways, I think it'd be cool to do some Q&A if anybody wants to drop in the chat box or maybe unmute themselves, whatever works best for you. Also, we broke a record tonight for the most amount of ladies on the Fit First Glory Sisters team call, because at one point it was 35 people, which is so stinking cool. And I literally started tearing up because I'm just like, what in the world, God? You are so cool. Literally, just to encourage you guys, I think about a year and a half ago, I got on a team call one time and nobody showed up. So I talked to myself and then posted it and said, hey guys, here's the recorded team call. So it just shows that, you know, what God can do in such a short amount of time. So
Hey, speaking of that, I'm just going to add this in there. I really meant to say this and I forgot about it because I really don't like this quote, but it's so true. I was reading something the other day that was like, fake it till you make it. Like, obviously we don't need to fake it till we make it, but like for all those people who are starting out new, like show up in your groups, even if you're the only person showing up. Like I remember my first few months, it was me and Ashley Holcomb, literally like, and now she's on this call as a coach, okay? But like she was my biggest challenger, and like if it wouldn't have been for her, like she just kept me going. It was me and her. I had like 20 people and nobody showed up, but like just keep going, just keep showing up. And it's crazy, like people are gonna see that you're kind of like, you know, on Instagram and stuff. Like they don't know there's only one person in that group. So like just keep going. It's cool how it grows.
Shay, there was a question from Valerie.
Do
Do you think doing the business activity tracker was the key to growing your Instagram? Any good tips?
I don't know necessarily about growing like my Instagram following. Is that what you're asking, Val? I can't see her face. I'll just kind of answer it. I don't know that it was my tip for growing necessarily Instagram in general. It was 100% the key to growing the business in general. Like I said, like I just started doing it from day one, and I literally have not quit until this day, because it really is making sure you do those little things that just move the needle forward. Growing your Instagram, I don't know. That's a hard question for me. Maybe Caroline can pop that one out. Really, it's being consistent and adding people is what I've done personally. But there's a ton of ways to actually grow your following and stuff. Still working on that myself. You got anything to add, Caroline?
I would say like one thing that I did in the beginning, and I know Val and I have talked about this a lot, so that's probably why she's asking for your opinion and not mine. But one thing, just for other girls on the call, I took a lot of Instagram courses when I first started that were not Beachbody related. So, I mean, I'm kind of a fan of like getting outside of the Beachbody bubble and learning from other like just Instagram bloggers and like just other companies, and how like just, I don't know, there's a lot of Instagram gurus out there who have courses you can take or free videos. And I actually split a course when I first started with one of my friends, and at the time it was $100, and that was really expensive for me to invest because I had just started, but it helped me a lot. And so that's something to think about. Like, are there any courses you can take or things to make your photos better? Which, Valerie, your photos are awesome, but like just, you know, there's a lot of strategies out there of how you can grow your following. I think the best training I've heard is the one from Ashley Smith that I recently shared with you guys. I know she's in a course right now, like a mastermind group for an Instagram course or coach. And that apparently is helping her a lot. So
I guess I could have just said this, but yeah, that course that Caroline's talking about is the best course I've watched in a long time. So if y'all don't know what we're talking about, we can share that again or share it with you. Reach out and ask us for sure. I was trying to read Aaron's question. Asked, do you have a schedule for your power pockets? Like, what do you do in each pocket of time? So yeah, I've kind of broken it down. So I know this sounds really, really crazy, but I've just kind of figured out like what I personally can get done in a certain amount of time. So I feel like it'd be different for everybody, but like for me, like in the mornings after I work out, I usually have 15 to 20-ish minutes. I can't talk, 20-ish minutes between like when I finish my workout and when I have to get ready for work. So like that's when I'm showing up on Instagram. That's when I'm posting my workouts. I'm checking into my challenge groups. I'm doing all of that kind of stuff. And then like usually I get to work. Like I know this is probably irrelevant to some people because y'all schedules are so different, but like I get to work and I have like 10 to 15 minutes where I can sit in my car normally if I leave at on time. And so like that's when I do my adding new followers. That's when I do making connections with people, that kind of stuff. And then usually like I try to do invites during lunchtime, which is like a 10 to 15 minute break. It's one of those things like you just kind of have to figure out like how long it takes you to do something and just split it up. But definitely like if you're trying to figure out how to split that up, go back to the business tracker and like take little pockets and break that into time, if that makes sense. I'm reading y'all's comments, sorry. Any more questions? All right. Well, Caroline, you got anything else?
I think that's it. Do you want to pray for us, Shea? And
Yeah, you're welcome, Al. Sorry, I just read your message.
yeah, this was amazing. I think everybody would tell you that it was amazing. Oh, someone asked how much of your market came from your full-time job. Last question. Take a picture and then pray.
Okay, I'll answer this and then we'll take a picture. Honestly, like nobody. I have one, my boss actually signed up with me. She was doing Beachbody before, and then one of my coworkers, and it's not because they don't know I do it, they all know I do it, but yeah, I don't really even know how to answer that question other than like nobody came from my full-time job really. Maybe they should, maybe I should reach out more, but they all know I do it. I really like I started out like with my friends and with my family, with people that I had already kind of knew, and then just growing my Instagram, and like I truly believe showing up consistently on Instagram, like that's how people are going to start to trust you and start kind of coming to you and really like being open to joining you and seeing what you do. But yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get my camera out real quick. There's not a way I can take a picture of everybody, is there? Like I can only do one screen, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Also, just a little FYI, I'm really glad that I couldn't see y'all while I was talking because I probably would have gotten really nervous if I knew y'all were on here. So thanks for being on here. Okay, I'm gonna take a picture. I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna go to the next one and do it too, so I don't leave anybody out. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for being on here. I love y'all. I love this team. I love this community. So anyways, it means a lot. If y'all have any questions, like reach out to your coach, send me a message. I'm more than happy to answer anything. But I will say a little prayer for us and then we will be done. So let us pray. Dear most gracious Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this amazing night of just fellowship with some of the people that I like to call my family, even if we've never even met in person. God, I thank you for just your faithfulness. I'm thankful for your goodness. I thank you, Lord, that you even orchestrated this where we can get together as a team. We can share the same passion, but even more than that, like we can truly just be your hands and feet, Lord, that we can just shine a light for all of those around us. And honestly, a pretty dark area at times. And I think that is just so cool. God, I thank you that no matter what is going on in life, no matter what is happening in this world, whether it be during this pandemic, whether it be in our families or our jobs or our personal lives, Lord, I thank you that that you are good. And I'm just reminded, I'm reading a book talking about just the fruit of the vine, and what's so cool is you are the vine and we are the branch. And in that, as long as we are abiding in you and we are in you, because you are good, we are good as well. And Lord, I pray that we would always remember that we would just find our joy and our hope and our peace in you. God, I pray for each of these ladies as we go throughout this week. God, I pray that you would just bless them. Lord, I pray that you would just give them discipline, Lord, that you would help them to be intentional with their time and just honestly give this business back to you, because Lord, we are here for you. We are here to bring you glory and honor and praise. And so, God, I thank you for this opportunity to lead tonight and just to love and serve these ladies. And I pray that it was helpful and beneficial, and that they can just take this and pour out and just multiply the effects. God, I thank you again for this day. Love you, Lord. And I just pray that we would just bring honor and glory to you in all that we do. In Jesus' precious and holy name I pray. Amen.
Thanks again, Shea. It was good to see everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.